Great. So I see some guys have come in. We have people joining us from Cape Town. Thanks, Dave. That's awesome. And Midrand, Joburg. Wow, that's a long one. Cape Town. Some great plugging of what you can offer us. Thank you. PE, Pretoria. That's great. Hi, everybody. This is going to be really a good session. Let me get my background changed, because now we're in meeting mode. You'll notice I'll change my background when it's time to move on. But let's start the presentation. I'm going to share you my desktop. Let's make sure it's the right one. Yep. Great. So if you can see my screen, just give us a hand raise if you don't mind. Cool. Mandy, Lenny, Benny, or Benny, sorry. Leonie, Alma, great. Let's get started. So there's a lot to discover. And I'm really grateful that you can spare us 30 minutes, 45 minutes of the day of a really busy Wednesday as we get ready to drive on Friday. And our main concept today is obviously to take us through our webinar for literally what is ISO 9000. A part of it is the first problem I had today, and maybe it's a saving grace. You can see someone's going to come online with us. Let me turn off my notifications. Great. So this morning I sent 2 mails, and luckily someone WhatsApped me, and they said, I think you got the date wrong. And if you think about quality in an essence, it's that very thing. Somewhere in the process, I didn't go and say the date is actually the 24th. Now, that's important for us because I could have got you to come back in the past with me, and that's nowhere I want you to be. I want you to be in the future, and that's where 360 is going to take you. And you might get some dad jokes. I'm not a dad, but I guess I'm practicing to be one. But yeah, all jokes aside, that is where NCR start, is what happened this morning. On Discovery today, we're going to be discussing ISO 9001, the quality non-conformance flag, InTouch, which is a CRM process, forms, and ultimately campaigns. These are our agenda minutes. But I've got a poll to just send through to you. So I'm going to send that now. The questions are basic. I'd like to know, of the people in our chats today, do you know 360 and the tools like the back of your hand? Are you prepared to, instead of me, give this webinar and just showcase what the product can do? So if you do, just vote up on the poll. I know 360 tools. I'd just like to get a good understanding of where everyone's at. If you're not able to see the poll, just raise your hand to give me an indication that you know 360, you know what we do. Thanks, Mandy. Cool. I'll send you to the next meeting. Anybody else know everything about the tools? Oh, cool, thanks. It gives me a really good indication of what we should be going through today. And from that aspect, we're able to take what we're learning and obviously improve it. There are strategic partners that we have got, one of them being a great company called WWise. They help with auditing and checking compliance. So we'll offer you the service to say the tool will give you compliance and it will cover your need, but we'll have another company come in and say, oh, we'll make sure that need is met by doing an audit on you. And that is a SHERQ service, so SHERQ, and everything under the sun. Okay, great. So I've got some feedback. Thank you very much for that. I'm going to take it off my screen. I'll leave it going so you can give me input as we're going to run through the events this morning. Let's take into consideration our overview. So I'm now going to bring over our presentation. So I'm going to present it like this, if you don't mind. We've discovered that during our life cycle of the product, which launched in 2015 from a garage in Alberton. Anybody from Alberton? You can tell us. It's a good place to be from. Nope. Okay, I'm the only one here from Alberton. Let's give some more screen size for this. Everyone can still see the presentation, eh? Cool. No hands going up, but I'm going to take that as a yes. Let's zoom in a little bit more. Okay. So Thanks, Bernice. In terms of where we've come from with the product in mind, we've established, let's say in 2017, that there's a bigger need than just understanding safety and understanding compliance. There's a greater one, and it's a business need. And the strategic needs have influences from the ground up. If you have a cleaner still using paper to mark that bathroom cubicle has been cleaned, 9001 with 360 will issue a little app, and we'll be using my app just now just to show you what it looks like. And that's the beauty of it. You're literally getting access to this from the ground up. And it's a 9001 requirement. And if we look at 45,000, it's very important. So based on our poll, 71% understand the tools. So I'm not going to take us through anything on the screen now. If anyone wants to know information about that, I will just raise your hand if you need a full overview. I get the statistics from our webinar, and it'll give me an idea of who to email. So if you feel you don't know 360 tools enough, just raise your hand right now if you don't mind. Good. All the presentations are going to be made available. If you're not getting the presentation, please reach out to your client liaisons. And you'll notice in the email that we sent, you've got 2 people to call. If you're in telecommunications, get hold of Jewel. And if you're not in telecommunications, get hold of Chantal. Okay, we've got people for you. And what I'm going to do is just drop these into our chat quick. Where's the chat gone? Somewhere over here. Okay, let me put some descriptions to their names. Telecom. Great, so you've got all their details. You've even got their numbers. Good, well, let's get straight into it. Is there anything I need to drop through here? Nope, nope. But yeah, it came from here. So the need for 9,000 came from quality, and in terms of compliance, understanding what a country needs and understanding what our clients need. They're 2 very separate things. One is let's call it a departmental overview. So Department of Labor require you to do things, and 9,000 will be a feature of that. So I'm going to jump us through to our the fourth industrial revolution, because it prepares us for what ISO 9000 is doing. And it's asking the needed question: what is an integrated management system? How do I run IMS? I was listening to Classic in 107.2, I think, and they were asking the question, do you have an integrated management status report? Do you send it to your CEO? Can you confidently say that you're reporting everything upline? And what quality will do for you are these 8 things. And this is just the surface. Does everyone have any questions related to the 4th Industrial Revolution? I'd like to jump through to quality. Just raise your hand if you feel you need to know a little bit more about 4th Industrial Revolution. Great. So you might think you know it, but I can assure you, if you can say this makes sense when I can put on HoloLens and train my workers on the factory floor, 360 will help you with that. 360 is an enabling service. We impact the workflow for the biggest of organizations all the way down to the smallest. We're connecting scanners. We're connecting into live camera feeds. We're understanding journey management plans, and the list is going to grow. So I think just get ready. This is going to impact government and will impact what we're doing. So we were going to have a coffee break here. Does anyone need to go for a smoke? Just raise your hand if you think you need a smoke quick. We've got some guys in the studio here. They're all going for a smoke. I don't need coffee, thanks. And I also have my coffee. I won't drink it all the time. How cool is this? Okay, 9001. Okay, so from what I can see, a lot of people understand dashboards and registers. They can understand checklists. So we're going to make sure that I tailor this discussion today and with those key areas. And non-conformance. Now, the dashboards that we're going to discuss, I'm going to get to in a bit. So while I'm discussing the overview, do change your opinion in your poll. I think you can change the opinion. and it'll give me an idea of what to focus on. So quality in a whole is non-conformance management, and I'm not a quality expert. What I've done is I've partnered with strategic people, namely WYs, and I'm going to just say it, the Ultron Nexus division of Ultron. We went to Ultron Nexus and said a year and a half ago, we will be able to be your solution specialist. Particularly people then went and trusted us, and we developed the life cycle of 9001, and we hit our heads. We had a real big challenge ahead of us because 9001 has so much to comply to. And what we identified was the simple stuff. So let's keep it simple. And there's a really good process called KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. And I'd never said that in a meeting. I just said, let's make it simple. So what that enabled us to do is say, what does the NCR management process look like? Who do we need? So we need functions. We need champions. We need HODs. We need a check manager. Then we said, okay, how do we optimize this? Because we know what checklists are in the system. We know what a manual action is. And now how do we make that ISO related? Then we've discovered what forms can be for us. So forms goes and enables us to answer any question with a drop down. We go and say what checklists can be built, and we can already build checklists for 9,000. We then build campaigns. Oh, I've got forms there twice. We build campaigns. So if you have a strategy around behavioral-based safety, it's a campaign. And then we go back to ask the big question, how do you want to customize it? What is customization? How big is it? How is it going to impact my workflow? And I'll talk you through a couple of big customizations we've done. So our definition of NCR is literally what corrective or preventative action do I need to follow in order for that non-conformance to happen again? And it could be in part of a service or a product. It could be a process, like this morning's emailer. It could be a supplier not delivering the right things. But all of this has a knock-on effect to business. And I said to my guys today, an hour costs me a certain amount in my business, and I've got 24 employees. Okay, if I am talking too fast, that means I'm excited. Now, if you want to slow me down, just raise your hand or comment, please. So the definition talks back to this. And I think in some way, the specifications of these three members is really important. And it comes down to a champion. We need champions that will assist us to be an HOD, to be a person that will manage the champion, the HOD role when the HOD isn't there, and overall a check manager. Now, out of curiosity, do you already have people like this in your businesses? Do you identify it as three people? And I think the first question is, do you have a check team? Just raise your hand if you do. Okay, what, 1 of 13 have a check team? What, 2, 3? Great. So yeah, our check teams should be divided 4. That's great. Just keep the hands raising, guys. It's cool. It does feel like we're in some sort of a service here, but I'm not going to pass around a collection bag. Not today, at least. That's the 11th item in the list. Okay, so we have a champion and we have an HOD. And our champion would obviously be there when the HOD steps out and to verify actions. But the check manager is someone that when we were developing this, we identified that there might be grammatical or spelling mistakes. And you don't want that to live in your system. You've got an AABB auditor coming in or someone from WIS coming in and saying, but the spelling isn't right or the grammar isn't right. There is a need at some point, though, to understand a check manager can go in on top of it, manage it, and change that cycle. Okay? The same thing with root cause analysis. Now, there are many approaches to root cause analysis, and I said earlier, I haven't made it a very big thing. Now, with a root cause analysis, we went and simply said, they are just the reasons why. Now, you can see it as a fishbone diagram. You can see it as the other ones, and I don't know them, but ultimately, we want to know the root cause. Okay, so to do that, we have a system in place, and it will be rolled out within safety as well. But our focus being primarily in quality, we will show it to you in the quality environment. Does everyone here understand root cause analysis? Just raise your hand if you do, please. Great, guys. Thank you so much. Give me a good indication of that. Now, can I tell you very quickly that I can assure you someone that hasn't had a matric can do a root cause analysis. You don't need to have a matric. That's what the tool's doing for you. And we partner, like I said, with WISE and AFSAF from a training perspective, and just make sure that this is happening. Okay, at the end of the day, the faults and the problems are important to understand and then remediate them. Root cause starts from a manual action. And what I'm going to do is just to quickly define with annotation, if you don't mind. So we've got the 5 W's. Is it 5? Yeah. So we've got W, 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 W. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, great. It's in blue. Okay, great. So what happened? Why did it happen? Who was involved? When did it happen? And then this is how it happened. So I just say it's wow, okay? You get the concept of this. Everyone cool with the 5 W's? Just raise your hand if you're cool. Great. We've got the 5 W's, and that includes what happened, why it happened, who it happened, and when it happened with. Sorry, I have got a room in here. I'll give you a quick show. We're actually meeting in our meeting room, and the guys have just come out of a very strategic meeting. Show you the room. Let's see who comes through today. Clement is actually the greatest guy in our business, and he's going to be doing safety with us. This is the screen behind me, so it's all an illusion. It's all an illusion. Okay, let's get back to the group. If you are hearing doors opening and closing, I will make sure that there's a little sticker on the door, and next time I'm giving backslas if people come in and make noise. Great, so after defining non-conformances and understanding the 5 W's, how is the most important aspect of this? So the definition says, identify the problem and try and make it go away. But it doesn't say stop it from happening, okay? It's just going to prevent it, okay? Let's move back through to here. Okay, so I'm glad you understand the 5 W's, and I'm so sorry for our disturbance just now. The root cause analysis is really good for us. What we've done here is we've said, after finding an action, we're now going to associate those actions and the findings into the root cause analysis. So we don't have to do things twice. And you'll notice in the system, through a checklist and a register, which 70% of you said you understand, those 2 aspects of the business is what you're talking about today. If you're saying, I need a register for something, it's the wrong approach. And I'm only going to say that because your registers should be automatic. Your register for emergency drills should be automatic. Your register for appointment letters should be automatic, like your medical register, all automatic. All it needs to be done is feed data into the things, okay? Now, what's happened here is we've had a feed in from the manual action. So you'll notice that we've got the region of reporting. Everyone understand reporting regions in the system. We've got operations and areas. Do you understand it? Just give me a hand raise if you do. Cool. Great, so those operations and areas, for the guys who don't understand them, it's literally your organogram. And it's another talking point that we had with our guys today. When we're going and getting instruction about operations and areas, we literally look at the organogram and say, how do you split your business up? And what impact does it have to reporting? Because at the end of the day, if the senior executives can't report on all the pillars of your business, we need to go and double check if the organogram's right. And if the organogram has 2015's date on it, maybe it's time to update it a little bit, like ours is. Then the next question is it internal or external? It's obviously to understand from a reporting area a bit more detail, and the detail is important. I've had a really wise person advise me about details, and he comes from a very big background in data management with Microsoft and with telecoms companies as well. And what he's always challenged me to do since I started working in 2012, actually 2001. But in 2012, I was told, you don't have enough detail. Your briefs aren't good enough. And from an operations perspective, That is a very good concept because you need to make sure your details are covered, right? The same thing with root cause analysis, room for improvement, and who is reporting the action. It's just detail. So if in your current 9,000 system, there needs to be a bit of change, we literally go back to that and say, okay, I understand this. I know where it's coming from. We literally added a target date about 4 weeks ago after the finding said, we don't know when it needs to be completed by. So the target date is almost like your bell ringer. So if you've got a bell ringer in your company, sometimes it's called a receptionist. You can put your hands up if you agree, if you want. But that observation needs to be sorted out by a day. And unfortunately for us, is our receptionists are the brunt of all of that problem information. So our receptionist will be told, I can't get into the system, or I can't access my safety file. Your client liaisons could be the same thing. And for me, Chantal has a lot of people. She's got a couple of hats that she has to intermingle. But that's where the detail comes from. The same detail goes into the root cause. So now you should see a bit more understanding about what's happening on the top left with finding. So when I talk about a finding, I'm going to now just hover my drawing tool. So check here, quality non-conformances are important. The finding is what we're discussing now. So when we discuss number, you can have your own number, like a document control system. Your number gets assigned, it can have a letter in it, it can have any abbreviation, that's okay. Operation is what we discussed about organogram. Source, we know it's an external action, but a source could actually be a form or a checklist. So a lot of you said that checklists are understandable and forms about 14%. Let's consider that a form could be a finding on one of your telecommunication sites, or the light bulb is still not fixed. That would be a finding from your checklist. Okay. Let's look at the second one, reporter. So in this case, it says Bruce Milan there, but the main aspect is that he's going to go and say, I reported it. But the user was actually Sean Darlow. So Sean created the actual event to say that something went wrong with this observation over here, an invoicing issue. But the user that is responsible for it is Andy Cubware. So the person responsible to sort it out is Andy. The person that's an HOD is Sean. And the HOD to sign off is Frikkie. Now, there's two things I need to tell you. Between the two HODs that are involved here, and it's relevant because we have, in this case, an invoicing issue. So we can go and say marketing and let's say invoicing has an issue. Marketing isn't raising an invoice quick enough. So Frikkie needs to sort it out. But in this case, we need to make sure that Sean and Frikkie are talking together as HODs, but it's all through one system. Out of interest in the meeting at the moment, please by a show of hands, let me know if you have two different HODs for your marketing and invoicing divisions. You don't, one HOD. Okay, we've got some hands raised, that's cool, very good to know. So can you see that if there are two people, that means there are two responsibilities. One to make sure an invoice gets generated and a quote gets generated, but the other to make sure the payments come in. Now, if we have cash flow issue, we have a real serious issue. Let's get back to our spotlighting. We also have a report for progress, and this is our status report. Out of show of hands, does everyone understand what our status reports in 360 does? Okay, cool. 3, 4, cool. For the guys that don't know, I'm just going to give you one word. It's progress, and the second word, closing the loop. So I think I should just have said closing the loop. But like the diagram says, I think it's over here somewhere, at the middle part of the whole aspect is this HSCE, or let's call it a meeting. So if we get information to a meeting, then that's all you need to know. But before a meeting can happen, you need to have action within a status report. And that's the red part of our circle. So if you see all the checklists and the non-conformances, safe working procedure changes, etc., those all go through into what is known as a status report. Okay. Thanks, guys. Let's go over to the next part, evidence. Also comes from our status report. This could look like a photograph or a document upload, or it can just be a comment. And then you'll notice that it has minimum findings. Those minimum findings are only important to us because we need 3. So what we've programmed in the system is after the 3rd minimum requirement of Ys, the 3 Ys, you can then go and give your result in. And your result is the culmination of the 5 Ws. The how, what actually went wrong in your root cause analysis. Okay, I'm going to move on now to our forms. Is there anything that you want to discuss before we move to forms? Just show of hands. I'll open up our chats quick to see if there's any, no, I'll open up Q&A quick. There are no questions coming in yet. I'll leave that there. Okay, does anyone need a smoke break now? Cool. Great, so forms in its function has a lot of actions that it can add into the system, and it looks like this. It's got an app function, and it's got a, what is it, a live function. So you can do this on and offline. Does anyone want to see one live? Just raise your hands. Oh no, okay. Let me just join the meeting again. Give me a sec. What I'm going to do is just pair my phone. I'm going to call it Mark's phone. Well, let's just call it the offline app. Because this can be shared later, if you do need to leave, I know I'm already on 5 minutes. We will share it to you, and the drop-off won't go and say I am angry with you. It's okay. Just joining the meeting. Okay, that one's not going to let me in. Oh man, I was able to join the other day. Okay, let's see what happens now. That's so strange. It's not letting me join. I'm going to try one more time, and if I don't get it right, then I'll show you live on the actual cloud. I want to show you offline, which is the device. Okay, so I'm going to come in as offline app. Okay, so I'm added myself. Sorry, guys. Okay, great. I see the hands there. Do you have questions, or is it just letting me know that it's okay for the forms to be on offline app? Okay, so I'm going to stop the sharing of this screen. Share this one. So strange. Sometimes my phone doesn't let me click a button. Okay, so technology is failing us. I'm literally at this point and I can't get it to go live. Sorry, guys. I'm not going to waste more of our time. Let's share this desktop again. And what I'm going to do is in the background, just get a fake Android up. And while that loads, let's just discuss forms a bit more. So within forms, we've obviously got the ability to have a drop-down. We've got a radio drop-down, but we even have facilities like control my screen. So imagine if you're a worker and you're doing mine work and you want to be taught how to understand doing mining, but below ground. So the big thing is below ground. Now you've already got a Wi-Fi connection. You've got the online app, because I can ask some of my mates in telecommunications to just give you a quote to get Wi-Fi down in the ground. I know there's Wi-Fi already. So let's say we've come across all the obstacles. We don't have any limitations because there aren't any limits. But on top of the ground, we've got a guy with all the IP, and our IP says we need to drill in that certain way, or we need to use equipment in a certain way. And what that will help us to do in terms of using screen share, is you'll be on top of the ground and you'll basically go and say, I've got a task that I'm doing. And the task will then go and say, I want to go and make sure that my guys can understand how to do safety checks on a very big plant or machine service. Now, what that will do for me is then capably allow the guy on the ground to learn, but just using a screen share, because we'll have access to the microphone, we'll have access to the video feed of the camera, and we'll have access to the video feed of his face, not to mention his screen, which I've tried to show you today. It was very difficult. Okay, so on our app here, I'm going to log in. I better put it over here. Just logging in with a very super secure password. Okay, and we're logging in now. Yep, there we are. Good, so what a form will look like, it will, in the app, it asks us if we've got a project monitor involved. If you need to know about project monitor, just drop a question in the Q&A section if you don't mind. But I'm saying it's not applicable. What region, you can see where my demo is going now. I'm going to say I'm doing work in this place over here. Then I'm going to go to my forms. And my forms will ask me questions like, am I doing a safety tour? Am I going to report a positive observation? So the one that you're seeing on the screen here, which we are allowed to share, is this form here. So like you can see here, we've got options for a drop-down, and I can go and say, I'm doing supply chain. We've got options for a checklist, and you can see how it's upgraded since the last time. And that's the key here. We are identifying business processes, making them digital, but not just so it creates a PDF. We are receiving data, and data is digitalized. And that's the aspect that we showed our client and said, there's a lot more that you can capture, but are you capturing the right things? Everyone's still following me. Just give a little raise in your hand if you don't mind. If I'm going too fast, just give me a comment. Thanks, everybody. Let me check if everything's going okay here. Things fine there. You guys are cool. I will try and slow down every now and then, but I'm hella excited right now. So yeah, as I said, we've got these options, more options. Let's check what we've got. That's a text area, another text area, photograph. We've got a first name, we've got a last name. See, is there any more? I can't get to the bottom. Okay, unfortunately, I can't go to the bottom of the screen. Let's go full screen quick. Okay, if you can see that, you'll see the end of the page. Now, we don't really need this information, first name, last name, but sometimes a senior leader actually goes and hands the phone to somebody else. So that's why we had to have that information. And then we finalize. But these are not the only options we've got in our system. Let me show you the database. Showed you a bit too much right there. Okay. You might have a question to say, does forms do this, or does forms do that? What I'm going to show you here is our next update sequence, which is version 2 of the system. Okay, and these are them. Whoa, where did it go? Here you go. Forms have inputs, and inputs are one-liner, text area. Let me copy them all. Rather show it to you in text. Actually, I'm going to add a new slide here. I think what we should see in this classic example of too much data is that real question. How much data actually do you need as a CEO? And am I really needing to report that, Mr. CEO? So do you have that in the back of your minds? So there's our one-liners, text areas. We've got multiple drop-downs. We've got photograph, we've got video, voice note. You'll notice that these ones here have a -1. And that's in the database how we control a little bit of not ready yet. I went a bit too far there. Everyone's still on the same page. You guys okay? Cool. No hands to slow down. If I see a hand now, I'll slow down. Okay, guys. Great, so those are the only ones that are currently in beta mode, and beta just means that we're asking someone to do it politely. I see there's another one, a device control. So can you imagine taking control of someone's device? Okay. There are new findings, checklists, you can scan something, you can sign something, so you can sign to your heart's content. We don't have a limit of 3 or 4. We've got 5 or 6, so you can have 20 signatures. And it can also do interesting things. Forms allows us to say, I'm going to send, let's say, automation, so AI. I'm going to send an SMS. I'm going to request a signature. Signature. Sometimes my spelling is bad. But you get to what I'm going with this. Like, we've got so many options available to us, and all we needed to do is your question here. Can it do that? Question here. Okay, let's move on. Everyone okay with what a form can do? Just raise your hand if you think you're cool. Great. So that's forms. We have around about 12 minutes left for the hour, and I want to take us through our next bit. I noticed that not a lot of people know InTouch and campaigns, so I'm going to do campaigns first and then head over to InTouch. Let's go and check this out. Okay, just bringing in information. Cool. So InTouch does quite a few things. There are 3 parts of InTouch. How do I ask for an internal poll? What does the report look like? And ultimately, what can I do with it? What's the next level? Because I know it can answer questions. I know it can have a poll. I know we can generate data from it. But what do I do with the data? Internal feedback, staff anonymous feedback, HOD comments, all of that stuff is what an internal poll can do. And now what I'd like to say is, in terms of our aspect into an internal poll, is that it all starts with a very clear message. So if I'm looking for internal feedback from my guys in the shop front or from clients coming to my premises, I can generate a QR code. So with 3 minutes, you in the system, you can say, I want a campaign. It needs to go live on this date, and I need a QR code to print and let people scan it. So what we've done is we've said, okay, here's an example of one. You might have seen this. It's called Make a Health and Safety Difference. It was generated by Barry Niemand, who's part of the Vodacom team. It was sent around the world, and it was also printed to become what's now known as the ElectroSafe campaign, which you can go and take part in as you go onto their premises at Renaissance Park. But you can also do this in, where are the places? Just say anywhere in the world, okay? Because we've got data, which you'll see just now, and it's not live data, if you are from Vodacom. This is what the questions were. We asked for first name, last name, email address, and where they were coming from. We also had branding from their department called marketing, and also an end message. So during the process, we discovered that we can start with a pledge and say, I pledge to be safe in my working environment. In the ElectroSafe, taking part of that campaign, let me actually ask you to take part in it. I'm going to send a link out quickly. Do you guys have extra time? Just raise your hand if we still have about 12, 20 minutes. Cool, thanks. Thanks very much, guys. Of the guys who don't have much time, I am going to skip through it quickly. But ultimately, you've got your input and you have your output. So this was the messaging in terms of branding, and it could be shared on social media. But if you look here, the results can speak for themselves. And this was results taken quite a while ago, and you can see it was very rudimentary. We gave a quick showcase of what it looked like, what kind of pledges that the guys are going to pledge for, because that was part of the question. Am I pledging to be a follow the absolute rules, or am I pledging to follow office safety? What did I do at that specific moment? And that's important for us to understand. How does it impact our lives and our life cycle? So let me get that ElectroSafe URL quickly. Okay. Can't show you the real data. I'm going to send you a message. So while you're going there, we will see some data coming in. So that is an idea of a URL. In this campaign, just to see what I can show you. Our campaign screen has changed. Great. And I just don't have a Safety 360 campaign. Oh no. But this is some of the feedback here. This is what it looks like. We've got a date, status, how many interactions, the QR code, the short URL, your opening image, your sharing image, and then data. I'm not going to show you that. And then our end image. Okay, so you'll see all of the images and stuff when you take part in it. You can take part in it later. It's no big deal. Great. So you get a dashboard for InTouch. You get unlimited campaigns, and we'll talk about costs later. It shouldn't be a big thing. So what can you use it for? We've configured forms and campaigns for internal polls to understand levels of ISO credit stability in the company. We've understood safety, we've understood electric safety, and these are aspects that will be great to give to your CEOs, because you can go and say, out of my 3,000 employees, 2,000 of them understand that a metal ladder is not good to use when working with electricity. That's the detail that we can get from your staff, and they do it anonymously. They don't need to actually put in a first name and last name. That was just one of the requirements for this specific pledge. So the next input path is this. We literally go and say to the next IoT guys. So IoT.next is a great company that does brilliant work for South Africa. They've partnered with a host of companies. And what they are assimilating is, I've got a connected device. It is read with an RFID, or it's just read with an input. But I can tell you right now, I'll roll out a campaign for you in 20 minutes that you can put into all those channels, from mobile all the way to a kiosk. And we can show you the path to purchase if you just want to sell something like ice to an Eskimo, or we can go and show you what does it mean to understand that there are 10 different types of ice in Eskimo land. So there's a lot of technology that we can depend on for this ability. The main aspect of behavioral-based safety and ISO standards is to just realign what it means to have a standard and get to the nitty-gritty of it. It's about making the workplace more workable. How do we bring that back to the workplace? We need to understand that just through a little bit of KPIs and just through a little bit of gamification, that a staff member can feel that they're doing more for their company, and they don't need to necessarily go and have a big salary increase. That salary increase can be part of a KPI, because at the end of the day, if our staff can do what they need to do well, and even better than we want them to do it, then that means we've got the perfect advocate. We have the perfect presence for our solution, which it could be rolling out fiber. It could be looking after people in welfare. It could be, let's say, storing stem cells. It's all the same thing. I have this life cycle. You're welcome to copy it and show it to your CEOs. But day 0 is the day before we go live. So what happens on that day? It's all about fetching data. How do we fetch it? What do we fetch? And you might laugh about this, but this was ready and created in this style in 2003 or 4. Okay, that's why I'm really old and got some wrinkles on my forehead and trying to control what's going on in here. My focus frown, as I call it. It's because it's so simple. We acquire somebody, we engage with them, and then we convert them back into someone who can either refer someone or someone who can retain someone. And that is what your polls can do. So it can affect your business from a cash flow perspective, but ultimately we want to retain you as a client and get your buddies in on it as well. Even if it's creating a golf app or let's say clay pigeon shooting. We can do that app too. So let's direct the people in the right way. Let's show them the right things and give them the reason to engage with us. If it's from signing in, updating something, or taking part in my product, let's do that for them, because at the end of the day, we can give away a fireplace or we can give away a house. It doesn't really matter what we're going to give away. People love winning things or getting something in return. And what I'm giving you here, with the help of Safety 360 and our 24 staff members, is this life cycle. And converting someone to becoming another paying customer or referral is really easy to manage. It just needs to be managed, right? Where do we get people? Where do we meet them? And meeting them halfway is the next step. So these are the 3 questions I ask for them. Let me just go and change this. Something. I did ask Vodacom for free internet, and they gave it to Facebook. So I need to show Vodacom and MTN and Cell C and Terraco, if it needs to happen, why we should have internet for free when using 360. If I can get an idea, if you raise your hand now, do you struggle with the amount that data costs your company per month? Do you struggle? Just put your hand up. My hand's quite high. I struggle with that. It costs me 4,000 Rand to make sure my team is connected to the internet. I've got 2 hands out of our whole attendance. Jeez. There's a lot of good companies out there. I want to work for those companies a bit more. If you don't have a problem connecting to the internet and paying for it, then I don't have to ask Vodacom for free internet. Okay, I can see the hands coming up now. I can see them. Sorry, I am also, obviously, the undercurrent is a bit of humor, but I'm being serious. We need to ask the question, why is the internet costing us so much? And people like Cell C will change it for us. There's a huge battle between the telecommunications companies, and it's to make data affordable and to make it not, what was the last thing with Poppy? Let's not let it expire so quickly. Okay. Okay, now we want to discuss custom. Before we move on, is there anything that you want to know about our campaigns? Okay, and then I needed to show you InTouch before that. I don't know where my slide went for that. Ooh. Okay, here's my slide for InTouch. I can show it to you live, but that's what our Friday driving session is about. Okay, I'll change the order just now. So InTouch is a really great tool. I noticed there was 0% knowledge of it, and that's why we need to discuss it now. So in 5 minutes, I'll give you the whole explanation, and I'm timing myself because I need to drive somewhere safely. The plugin identifies and assists you identifying a channel and an industry. So you got a customer in your books. It's like a CRM. You've got your customer, you've got their industry, and you've got what they can do for you. Both ways, customers and suppliers. Let's look at both of those at the same time. What we can do, I'm just going to ask him to help me here quickly. Chris, do you mind just checking if anything is important on my phone? Sorry, I checked. It's okay. Chris is a really great developer with us. Okay, so when you do get a WhatsApp message from someone important, you just need to look down for a second. But I have 3 minutes to discuss it with you now. So InTouch allows you to identify something that was either a complaint, suggestion, a service request, a call-out request, a sales request, you can name it. It's your generic way of managing input into your business. So I can tell you now, you can have one receptionist and you can use InTouch, and it will, to your clients, it will feel like you've got, let's say, 50 receptionists. It's beautiful because she doesn't only have to speak in different voices. And don't worry, Chantal doesn't do that for me, but you get where I'm going with this. Just raise your hand if you're on the same page. Got some same pages? Say no sames. Well, one, cool, thanks. I'd like to know if you're laughing as well, because sometimes serious business is a bit too serious. If you want to give me some high fives, just hit that hand raise a lot of times. Okay, so we identify something. We understand that it can come from an email, it can come from a call, which you don't really want many calls, because that actually ties you up. If you don't have a headset to help you, like with answering a phone call, if I do it like this, The problem is my neck might get injured. And if you're an Australian, that's a big problem. Not just because I've got the Workers' Compensation Act, which is actually relevant, but more because there's so much to do with it. So we've got a form, it's an email and a call that can happen, identification, action, notification. So who gets notified for what channel and what industry? And the last part is taking a status report action. How does that remediate itself to ensure that at the end of it, we resolve and there's happy clients? So what does that mean for us? Like, that is the most important trigger. Any questions? No, so do you feel that you're 100% in the know-how on InTouch and campaigns? I'll just give you 2 minutes to decide. Because I said I'd do it in 5, so I've got 1 minute left. You good? Awesome. Okay, we also discussed root cause. We had discussed NCR flag, doc control. There's only one person. Are you still here, the person for doc control? Nope. It's okay. You'll get I won't then go through it. Customization is critical. It's a CC issue. What we need to make sure here is that out of our whole suite of people on 360, and let's look at the clients quickly. Click on clients. And then scroll a little bit further down, because those are the 138 people that are actually making this system rock, and it's on fire. The trajectory in our business is growing at an unbelievable rate. And I see Ali Wright's logo is missing. That's okay. They're brand new. Roron, CryoSafe, Fluid, IFRI, Datacentrics, JCS, LevelX, Logic Trials, MGG, beautiful company, NewSaf, Pharma Logistics. Oh, yes, we do use our own system. But you can get where I'm going at. Customization has led to so many plugins getting built. And I think as we're wrapping up in the next 2 minutes, remember to ask any Q&A questions. You're allowed to, it's open for Q&A. These 4 companies have built custom solutions with us. And they include, let's say, workflow management to the nth degree. And what that would mean for you is that you can digitalize any process in your business. If it's a simple time and attendance app, and I'll show you this one, and it just sucks that I couldn't show you that. But I'm signed into the office. Okay, this app took us, I think, how much time, Chris? 2 afternoons, Chris said. Okay, that's from the developer, and there's no BS now. The only thing that we did is we had one version control change. So, Chris, what was the one change?
That was just an extra list.
An extra list item, yeah. So what I'm going to be doing just now is signing out of the office. So I go sign out, I sign, upload, and I'm going to go and say, I'm at the office, I'm signing out, and that's now done. Easy as that. So what Chris is saying that our change was, it was just that list of changes that we found that was very crucial to have. And I want to show you the data in my last 30 seconds. No questions. Any hands for questions? No hands. Okay, you are itching to see this. I'm just signing in. This is our Safety 360 system. Bit of a tongue twister. But in our last aspect of this, you can come in. Okay. Who is it? Okay, we go to our Safety 360 tools, team location. Now imagine if someone in the mines can do this, and let's say it's not a person, it's the cables that are being thefting or being stolen. Amazing, eh? So we don't really publish the surnames of our team members, so sorry for you guys. But they're not going anywhere because they love working with me. So these are updates, but that's not good enough. Where are the guys? What's happening with my team? So Dave, let's check if you're actually in Cape Town. Oh, did you sign in, Dave? Oh, I don't know. Let's check if Dave's name's here. Okay, you did. You checked in at home. Oh, you're not in Cape Town, but you're working in Cape Town from your home. Love it. Let's look at my one. So my employee, now we go into the drill down, and I think about this as a context, okay? Context is king. Checked in at the office, 7 a.m. I was actually in a bit earlier. And check out of the office, 2 places. So when we meet on Friday, I'll show you the record of me traveling to Pretoria, and that's what I'm heading next. So I really have enjoyed today's session. I know that there's a lot to go through, a lot to process. Quality is quite a beast. I realize that there are no questions, but that's hopefully because I've described it in a killer way. I've gone and said to you how we can change it, how we can make it effective for your business. And I really hope that you've taken back with you what it could mean to roll this out into your systems and just enhance what you already have. And part of the situation is enablement. We are enabling you to cross over from digital to digitalize. And those 2 aspects are very critical for me to ask you questions about. If you're keen on a follow-up, please use the chat services to get hold of Jewel or Chantal. We'll get a diary entry for you. My diary is pretty full. Let's have a look at it. And CrySave, if you're in the meeting, I'm on my way. I'm going to just let them know that I'm running a little bit late. But this is it, guys. This is what we're doing. We're just managing a diary so we can follow up with you and know when people are having birthdays. I'm in Cape Town on the weekend. I'm looking forward to meeting with you. So get hold of Chantal, Jewel, Rian, or myself, and we will make your businesses lit. Thank you so much for your time, and I really hope that you've enjoyed today. Again, reach out if you've got any questions, and we will send this recording and the presentation to you shortly. Adios, amigos. Thanks very much, everybody.